Can you hear me? Lovely. So I'm Jo Wiggins, this is Louise Halliday. We are two of the specialist occupational therapists from the Norfolk and Suffolk ME service, run by East Coast Community Healthcare. So I'm just going to run through a little bit about how the service currently is. We've got a couple of questions, and then we're going to talk a little bit more about recruitment. So we are currently an outpatient service for both adults and children, offering a variety of in-clinic appointments, emails, home visits, telephones. We consist of 2 GPs with special interest and a number of OTs and physios, 10 at the moment. We're commissioned by all of the CCGs in Norfolk and Suffolk, so we see patients, anybody who has a GP in Norfolk and Suffolk we see. We hold clinics currently at these different locations, so Lowestoft, Raydon, which is in Suffolk, Stowmarket, Great Yarmouth, Aylsham, Norwich and Kings Lynn. And we offer a variety of input around pacing, activity management, rest and relaxation, lots of things that you all know about already, I'm sure. So, we'll do a question. So, would you like to, not my staff over there, you two are not allowed. You two are not allowed to. How many new referrals do you think we received last year? Cheating. Thank you. I told you. Okay, so well, the majority of you are right. So last year we had 962 new referrals. So that is fairly similar the last couple of years. That's up threefold from 10 years ago. So 10 years ago we were averaging about 350 referrals a year. We're now nearly averaging 1,000. We're looking like we'll hit 1,000 referrals this year. Thank you. And again, so how many active patients do you think that we currently are seeing in the service? Yeah. Lovely. Oh, did you two vote at the end? Yeah, so again, I checked this morning before I left, so as of this morning we had 1,776 patients currently active within the ME service. Between the 10 of us, yes. So that, again, is fairly consistent, people moving in and out, but we fairly consistently sit at around 1,800 active patients. So, the current pathway as it stands, as Simon said previously, they're aiming to recruit 160 patients. So they're recruiting through us, so that can include both current patients of the service and people who've previously been seen by the service and have a diagnosis of ME CFS. So people who have previously been seen by us but aren't currently active don't need to be re-referred to the service to be put forward for the study. We've set up a system, so if people ring up and they're interested, we can add them to a list, and then once Simon gives us the go-ahead, we will contact you with some more information to see if you're still interested, but people don't need to be re-referred to access that. So again, as of this morning, we already had 60 people who've expressed an interest and are on a list kind of waiting for more information. The current plan is that patients will be assessed by one of the senior members of the team, probably a telephone assessment, to ensure that they meet the recruitment criteria, which we'll come to in a second. And again, patients who are already currently active will be asked as part of the kind of normal appointment process. And obviously some of these things are also a way of ensuring that other people have access and know about the study that's going on. So, let's run through these. So inclusion, so people have to be 18 years old, so no children. It will cover, or it can cover, the whole severity of the spectrum of ME CFS. I know she talked about Barbara before, obviously people who are severely affected, it's going to be more difficult for them because they will have to get here. But you don't have to be somewhere on the spectrum, you can be anywhere on the spectrum. That's something that Simon is still looking at. Symptom duration, again, currently is suggested 2 to 15 years. So as a team, we've discussed with Simon that whether perhaps cutting off at 15 years is perhaps too, too small, too low, and that perhaps that would actually cut off quite a number of patients that we would see. And we have quite a lot of people who have been ill for longer than 15 years or who we've seen for longer than 15 years. So that's something that Simon is, again, discussing with the European clinicians group. So that may change as the process moves along. Disease coincident with clinically diagnosed gastroenteritis. So that basically means that you can have IBS or a gastro disorder. That's absolutely fine. So the exclusions. So you can't have kidney failure, you can't have congestive heart failure, you can't be immunocompromised on immunosuppressive drugs, you can't have another disease that may explain ME/CFS symptoms. Hopefully that would have been part of your diagnostic process in the first place. You can't have used antibiotics in the last 3 months. You can't be pregnant or breastfeeding. You can't have serious endogenous depression. So again, we've discussed this with Simon, so that's about people who are seriously, clinically depressed. Probably the majority of people who we see who may have developed mild, moderate depression as part of their illness. That's not going to be an exclusionary criteria. You can't have a chronic infectious disease, so HIV, hepatitis B or C, and you can't have had a major kind of lifestyle change in the last 3 months. So you can't have introduced new food supplements, you can't have had a major change in diet, so for example gone vegan or started an anti-candida diet, or any introduction of any new medications within the last 3 months. Is that everything? Oh, God, that was quick, wasn't it?